Hey, hey, on this wonderful morning. I hope you had a good rest and welcome. We are on another episode of Reading Through the Bible, and we have entered into Deuteronomy, and we are at verse 4. I'm sorry, we're at chapter 4. So, previous to this, we find that Moses is forbidden to cross into Jordan, and that Joshua, the son of Nun, is going to take his place. And so we're pretty much seeing the final days of Moses. He's just reiterating some of the things that the children of Israel need to know before he passes. And that's pretty much where we are. Yesterday, we talked about the victory over Og, and right now we're talking a lot about the giants. And I'm actually going to post. I'll get to that later. I'll get to that when we're done. Okay, so chapter 4, starting at verse 1. And Moses commands obedience. Now, therefore, hearken, O Israel, unto the statutes and unto the judgments which I will teach you, for to do them that ye may live, and go in and possess the land which the Lord God of your fathers has given to you. Ye shall not add unto the word which I command you, neither shall you diminish aught from it, that ye may keep the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command you. Your eyes have seen what the Lord did because of Baal Peor. For all the men that followed Baal Peor, the Lord thy God has destroyed them from among you. But ye that cleave unto the Lord your God are alive, every one of you this day. Behold, I have taught you the statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my God commanded me, that ye should go in the land where you go to possess it. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is wise and understanding people. For what nation is there so great who has God so near unto them as the Lord our God is in all things that we call upon him for? And what nation is there so great that has statutes and judgments so righteous as all this law which I set before you this day? Only take heed to yourself and keep thy soul diligently, lest thou forget the things which thine eyes have seen, and lest thou depart from thine heart all the days of thy life, but teach them thy sons and thy sons' sons. Especially the day that thou hast stoodest before the Lord thy God in Horeb, when the Lord said unto me, gather me the people together, and I will make them hear my words, that they may learn to fear me all the days that they live upon the earth, and that they may teach their children. And he shall come near and stood under the mountain, and the mountain burnt with fire under the midst of heaven, with darkness, clouds, and thick darkness. And the Lord spake unto you out of the midst of the fire, ye heard the voice of the words, but saw no similitude, only ye heard a voice. And he declared unto you his covenant, which he commanded you to perform, even 10 commandments, and he wrote them upon 2 tables of stone. And the Lord commanded me at the time to teach you statutes and judgments, that ye may do them in the land where you go over to possess it. Idolatry forbidden. Take ye therefore good heed unto yourselves, for ye saw no manner of similitude on this day that the Lord spake unto you in Horeb out of the midst of the fire, lest you corrupt yourselves and make you a graven image, the similitude of any figure, the likeness of male or female, the likeness of any beast that is in the earth, the likeness of any winged fowl that flies in the air, the likeness of anything that creeps on the ground, the likeness of any fish that is in the waters beneath the earth. Unless thou lift up thine eyes unto the heaven, and when thou see the sun and the moon and the stars, even all the host of heaven, should be driven to worship them and serve them, which the Lord thy God has divided unto all nations under the whole heaven. But the Lord has taken you and brought you forth out of the iron furnace, even out of Egypt, to be unto him a people of inheritance, as ye are this day. Furthermore, the Lord was angry with me for your sakes, and sware that I should not go over Jordan, and that I should not go in unto that good land which the Lord thy God given thee for an inheritance. But I must die in this land, I must not go over Jordan, but ye shall go over and possess the good land. Take heed of yourselves, lest you forget the covenant of the Lord your God, which he made with you, and make you a graven image or likeness of anything which the Lord thy God has forbidden thee. For the Lord thy God is a consuming fire, even a jealous God. When thou shalt beget children and children's children, and ye shall have remained long in the land, and shall corrupt yourselves and make a graven image or the likeness of anything, and shall do evil in the sight of thy God, to provoke him to anger, I call heaven and earth to witness against you this day, that ye shall soon utterly perish from off the land whereunto you go over the Jordan to possess it. You shall not prolong your days upon it, but shall utterly be destroyed. And the Lord shall scatter you among the nations, and ye shall be left few in number among the heathen, whither the Lord shall lead you. And there ye shall serve gods and work of men's hands, wood and stone, which neither see, nor hear, nor eat, nor smell. But if from there thou shalt seek the Lord thy God, then thou shalt find him, if thou seek him with your whole heart and with your soul. When thou art in tribulation, and all things are come upon you, even in the latter days, if you turn to the Lord thy God and shall obey unto his voice, for the Lord thy God is a merciful God, he will not forsake thee, neither destroy thee, nor forget the covenant of thy fathers which he sware unto them. For ask now of the days that are past, which were before thee, since the day that the God created man upon the earth, and ask from one side of the heaven unto the other, whether thou hast been any such thing, excuse me, as this great thing is, or has been heard like it. Did ever a people hear the voice of God speaking out of the midst of the fire, as thou hast heard, and live? Or has God essayed to go and take him a nation from the midst of another nation, by temptations, by signs, and by wonders, and by war, and by a mighty hand, and by a stretched out arm, and by great terrors, according to all that the Lord your God did for you in Egypt before your eyes? Unto thee it was showed, that thou mightst know that the Lord is he God. There is none else beside him. Out of heaven he made thee to hear his voice, that he might instruct thee. And upon earth he showed thee his great fire. And thou heard his voice, and thou heard his words out of the midst of the fire. And because he loved thy fathers, therefore he chose their seed after them, and brought thee out in the sight with his mighty power out of Egypt, to drive out the nations from before thee, greater and mightier than thou art, to bring thee in, to give thee their land for an inheritance, as it is this day. Now therefore this day, and consider in thy heart that the Lord, he is God in heaven above, and upon the earth beneath, there is none else. Thou shalt keep therefore his statutes and his commandments, which I command thee this day, that he may go well with thee and with the children after thee, and that thou mayst prolong thy days upon the earth, which the Lord thy God gives thee forever. Then Moses severed 3 cities on this side Jordan toward the sunrising, that the slayer might flee there, which shall kill his neighbor unawares, and hated him not in times past, that the fleeing unto one of these cities he might live, namely Bezer, in the wilderness in the plain country of the Reubenites, and Ramoth in Gilead of the Gadites, and Golan in Bashan of the Manassites. For this is the law which Moses set before the children of Israel. These are the testimonies and the statutes and the judgments which Moses spake unto the children of Israel after they came forth out of Egypt. On this side Jordan, in the valley over against Beth Peor, in the land of Sihon, king of the Amorites, who dwelt in Heshbon, whom Moses and the children of Israel smote after they were come forth out of Egypt. And they possessed his land, and the land of Og, king of Bashan, 2 kings of the Amorites, which were on this side Jordan toward the sunrising, from Aroer, which is by the bank of the river of Arnon, even unto Mount Sion, which is Hermon. Mount Sion, which is Hermon. And all the plain on this side of Jordan eastward, even unto the sea of the plain under the springs of Pisgah. The 10 Commandments. And Moses called all Israel and said unto them, Hear, O Israel, the statutes and judgments which I speak in your ears this day, that you may learn them and keep and do them. The Lord our God made a covenant unto us in Horeb, And the Lord made not his covenant with our fathers, but with us, even us who are all alive here today. Sorry, who are all alive this day. The Lord talked with you face to face in the mount out of the midst of the fire. I stood between the Lord and you at that time to show you the word of the Lord, for you were afraid by reason of the fire and went not up into the mount, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage. Thou shalt have none other gods before me. Thou shalt not make thee any graven image or likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the waters beneath the earth. Thou shalt not bow down themselves, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that takes his name in vain. Keep the Sabbath day to sanctify it, and the Lord thy God has commanded thee. 6 days thou shalt labor and do all thy work. For the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, that thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughters, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thine ox, or thine ass, nor thine cattle, nor the stranger that is within thy gates, that the manservant and thy maidservant may rest as well as you. And remember that thou wast a servant in the land of Egypt, that the Lord thy God brought thee out of there through a mighty hand and by a stretched out arm. Therefore, the Lord thy God commanded thee to keep the Sabbath day. Honor the Lord, honor thy father and thy mother, as the Lord thy God has commanded thee, that thy days may be prolonged, and that he may go well with thee in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, neither shalt thou steal, neither shall you bear false witness against thy neighbor, neither shalt thou desire thy neighbor's wife, neither shalt thou covet thy neighbor's house, his field, or his manservant, or his maidservant, his ox, or his ass, or anything that is thy neighbor's. These words the Lord spake unto your assembly in the mount of all the midst of the fire of the cloud, and of the thick darkness with a great voice, and he added no more. And he wrote them in 2 tables of stone, and delivered them unto me. And it came to pass, when you heard the voice out of the midst of the darkness, for the mountain did burn with fire, that you came near unto me, even all the heads of your tribes and your elders. And ye behold, the Lord our God has showed us his glory and his greatness, and we have heard his voice out of the midst of the fire. We have seen this day that God does talk with man, and he lives. Now, therefore, why should we die? For this great fire will consume us. If we hear the voice of the Lord our God any more, then we shall die. For who is there of all flesh that has heard the voice of the living God speaking out of the midst of the fire as we have and lived? Go thou near and hear all that the Lord our God shall say, and speak thou unto us all that the Lord our God shall speak unto thee, and we will hear it and do it. And the Lord heard the voice of your words when you spake unto me, and the Lord said unto me, I have heard the voice of the words of his people, which they have spoken unto thee. They have well said all that they have spoken. Oh, that they were such a heart in them, that they would fear me and keep all the commandments always, that it might be well with them and with their children forever. Go say to them, go, get you in your tents again. And as for thee, stand thou here by me, and I will speak unto thee all the commandments and the statutes and the judgments which thou shalt teach them, that they may go and do them in the land which I give them to possess. Ye shall observe to do, therefore, as the Lord your God has commanded you. Ye shall not turn aside to the right hand or to the left. Ye shall walk in all the ways which the Lord your God has commanded you, that you may live, and that it may be well with you, and that you may prolong your days in the land which you possess. Now these are the statutes and the commandments and the judgments which the Lord your God commanded to teach you, that you may do them in the land where you go to possess it, that thou mightest fear the Lord thy God, and keep all his statutes and commandments which I command thee, thou and thy son and thy son's sons, all the days of thy life, and that thy days may be prolonged. Hear thereto, O Israel, and observe to do it. that it may be well with thee, and that ye may increase mightily as the Lord of thy fathers has promised thee, in the land that flows with milk and honey. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord, and thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thine heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might. And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thine heart, and thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou lie down, and when thou rise up. And thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thine hand, and they shall be as a frontlets between thine eyes. And thou shalt write them upon the post of thy house and on thy gates. And it shall be, when the Lord thy God shall have brought thee into the land which he swears unto your fathers, Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, to give thee great and goodly cities which thou builtest not, and the houses full of all good things which thou fillest not, and wells digged which thou diggest not, vineyards and olive trees which thou plantest not, when thou shalt have eaten and be full. Then beware, lest thou forget the Lord the God, which brought thee forth out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage. Thou shalt fear the Lord thy God, and serve him, and shalt swear by his name. Ye shall not go after other gods of the gods of the people which are round about you. For the Lord thy God is a jealous God among you, lest the anger of the Lord thy God be kindled against thee, and destroy thee from off the face of the earth. Ye shall not tempt the Lord your God as he tempted him in Massah. Ye shall diligently keep the commandments of the Lord your God, and his testimonies, and his statutes which he has commanded thee. And thou shalt do them which is right and good in the sight of the Lord, that it may be well with thee, and that thou may go in and possess the good land which the Lord sware unto your fathers. To cast out all the enemies from before thee, as the Lord has spoken. And when thy son ask thee in time to come, saying, what mean the testimonies and the statutes and the judgments which the Lord our God has commanded you? Then thou shalt say unto your son, we were Pharaoh's bondsmen in Egypt, and the Lord brought us out of Egypt with a mighty hand. And the Lord showed signs and wonders, great and sore, upon Egypt, upon Pharaoh, and upon all his household before our eyes. And he brought us out from there, and he might bring us in to give us the land which he swears unto his fathers, and to our fathers. And the Lord commanded us to do all the statutes, to fear the Lord our God for our good always, that he might preserve us alive, as it is this day. And it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all these commandments before the Lord our God, as he has commanded us. Okay, so that brings us up to Deuteronomy chapter 7, and we'll catch there tomorrow. God will defeat the nations. So I'm going to make a post, and just to give you a link, there's a lady, I just ran across her video yesterday, and she actually expounds on the chapters that we've been reading for the past few days about Og of Bashan and the giants. And she talks really, really heavily about Mount Hermon, where the Nephilim pretty much dwell. And that's where they were taking wives of, of women, of the women here on earth, and making hybrids with them. And she really delves on that. And she talks about the iniquities that the Lord talks about, bloodshed and idolatry and different things like that. She pretty much expounds on that from that standpoint. So I thought it was a really, really interesting video. And so I'm going to post that in the post when we get off of here. So it's really just going to tie everything that we've been talking about, once again, from Deuteronomy and Numbers, Leviticus. Even remember how I asked you guys the other day about how you felt about the cities of refuge? Pretty much that there is no way that the earth can be cleansed from the blood that's shed. And so even to the point where if someone committed murder, there were different cities that they had to go to, because you were not allowed to exact judgment in the land which you lived. There were cities that they made for that type of thing, so that you wouldn't pollute the land that you lived in. And so just very, very interesting stuff, especially since a lot of this stuff is found in history and people have been able to find it just researching different nations and and showing that even when they're secular and they don't believe in God, even they agree that these things happen. So just very, very interesting stuff. So stay tuned for that. Um, and yeah, we'll meet here again tomorrow, starting at Deuteronomy chapter 7. All righty. Have a good day.